It's Prince Harry's greed destroying the Invictus Games. That's something I posited earlier in April when the Invictus Games was first beginning, that it was really just becoming a cash cow for him and Meghan. And I think today we've seen the first casualty of that change in tactics, unfortunately. And it happened to Help for Heroes, which is a British charity that helps kind of equip and train and send the UK team to the Invictus Games. They partnered with the Royal British Legion, and unfortunately, they've kind of been let go from this partnership, and it was due to a decision from the Ministry of Defense. And I think there's been a couple of kind of theories posited. I'll go over my own, but I really think it comes down to there's a lot less trust in Harry and the Invictus Games in general. So I think what the Ministry of Defense may be trying to do is trying to shield the UK team from Prince Harry. And that's a pretty big development, and kind of goes along with kind of the changes we've seen in Harry and Meghan, that basically everything they're doing is a way for them to make money, unfortunately. And I think that the Help for Heroes is one of the first casualties of that. So I'll go over some of the details that we have with you, tell you some of the statements that I've seen, and kind of posit maybe what is going on behind the scenes in today's video. And if you haven't been to Royal News Network before, my name is Brittany, and we talk about everything related to royals here. So that's news, gossip, fashion, jewelry, television shows, movies, and history. We do it all here. So I'm going to the UK, and I have a ton of content planned for that. I'm going to many museums and palaces and castles, and I just plan to get you guys as much content as humanly possible in the span of about a week and a half. And I already have a couple of my tickets booked for events, and I'll be going over more details with you next week. But like I said, today we are going over the breaking news of Help for Heroes essentially being kicked off Team UK. And I found this super interesting. And I first saw this news this morning, and at the time it was just screenshots of Twitter, and so many things can be manipulated and faked anymore. I didn't really want to go into it too much because I wasn't sure what was actually happening. But now we have kind of this new information, and there's been a lot of kind of statements made about it, although we haven't heard a statement from Harry yet. So it's been really interesting to see, and I think it shows that there's a disquiet within the Invictus Games I don't think was there before Harry and Meghan went on this money-making train. So here's the statement from Help for Heroes. And this is a charity, again, like I said, that helps kind of equip, train the UK team to go to these games. And they also do more charity and work with troops. Now you can read this statement on their website. It says, Help for Heroes is incredibly proud to have trained, supported, and delivered Team UK for the past 5 Invictus Games. However, following extensive discussions, it has been decided by the Ministry of Defense, MOD, that the Royal British Legion will lead the end-to-end delivery of Team UK to the Invictus Games for the next 5 years, and will also be the main funder of the program. Unfortunately, therefore, we will no longer be directly involved in Invictus Team UK. We want to emphasize that this was not a decision we made ourselves. We know the Games continues to play a unique role in shining a light on the abilities of wounded veterans. The MOD considered proposals from the Invictus UK partnership and have chosen this route moving forwards. Our focus now is on helping more people across the UK within their communities as part of keeping our promise to be here for our wounded veterans for as long as they need us. Since the charity launched in 2007, we have witnessed firsthand the transformative power of sport in both rehabilitation and recovery. But this power of sport extends beyond the Invictus Games. Adaptive inclusion sport continues to be an important part of the charity's whole person approach to recovery. Our nearly 40-strong sport activity and fellowship team will continue to deliver competitive and recreational, inclusive, and adaptive sport opportunities around the UK. Our coaching academy, a sports coaching development program for veterans, will continue, and we have relaunched our Frontline to Start Line sports transformation program for wounded veterans from talent identification through retirement from sport. Of course, we will continue to cheer on Team UK and look forward to seeing what the Invictus Games achieves in the future. The Ministry of Defense also released a statement saying the Royal British Legion was able to offer secure funding, more personnel to support the team, and a commitment to supporting Team UK into the future. Therefore, felt this would be the best choice for Team UK. Our priority is always to ensure Team UK and our wounded, injured, and sick service personnel and veterans get the best experience. We remain enormously grateful for all the work Help for Heroes has done to take Team UK to the Invictus Games and continues to work with them to support the armed services community. And the British Royal Legion has also released an internal memo. Yes, there's a lot of memos floating around out there about this. And right now it says, the Royal British Legion will take on a greater role in delivering Team UK to the Invictus Games in 2023 in Dusseldorf and 2025 in Whistler and Vancouver, alongside the Ministry of Defense. We'll use the expanded facilities at the Battle Back Center to take on the full commitment of supporting Team UK applicants and participants and their friends and family through the games process. This will include facilitating training camps and coaching for each of the sports, supporting those not selected, and offering other recovery opportunities, accompanying the team to the games, providing access to a range of RBL welfare support, and of course, continuing to run the Friends and Family program. And another statement, I know, lots of statements, but I think it's interesting to get every perspective because I think they all add a little piece of the puzzle. So the Invictus Games has said, this was a decision taken by the UK Ministry of Defense following proposals for the team structure moving forward, and not a matter for the Invictus Games Foundation. Alongside our participating nations, we work alongside many military organizations and charities to support international wounded, injured, and sick service personnel and veterans, including our programs beyond the games, and we will continue to do so with Help for Heroes. So this obviously, basically the Invictus Games is saying we will still work with Help for Heroes, but the Ministry of Defense and the Royal British Legion, I keep wanting to mix those up, I'm sorry. So the British Royal Legion does not. And I think, again, that's key. And Richard Palmer had a little line in his article from the Express that I think kind of says a bit about why. The MOD took the decision to dump Help for Heroes after the charity said it wanted to evaluate whether the Invictus Games were still providing value for money for members of the public who support the charity through donations after the next competition in Dusseldorf. So this is all very interesting, and it's not a good sign, I don't necessarily think. And it sounds like money and the future of the Invictus Games and how money is going to be used for the games is now a key concern of the Ministry of Defense. And I think that all circles are back around to Prince Harry. They want to know, Help for Heroes wanted to know, if we're supporting this event, will it be okay? And I think, is it a value to our members to continue supporting the event? And I get it, maybe the Ministry of Defense was a little like, well, why are you questioning this? But I think they're questioning it as well. And I think the reason why to put it back under the British Royal Legion was actually started in 1921 under George V. And so this organization has a long, long history and a much better structure and foundation of support, and its patron is Queen Elizabeth II. So its next royal patron will be King Charles III, and beyond that, King William. And it's very interesting, again, that they've made this decision to move, because I think there's a couple of reasons why I think this happened. Number one, Help for Heroes was questioning, I think, how the money was being spent and where the money was going, and if it was feasible for them to continue to support the Invictus Games. And I think that question stems from people questioning where their money is going if they donate to this event. I'm sure this is something they've heard from their donors. Seeing Meghan's, $65,000 wardrobe for 3 days, where she did nothing but parade around and talk to people, and wore like $1,000 sunglasses. They're like, where is our money going in this situation? I want to know, because I want to know that's supporting the troop, not Meghan Markle's wardrobe. And that was, again, a key and very, very stupid public relations thing that Harry and Meghan should have been able to address from the jump. Because, again, people don't know where their money is coming from. And I get it. Harry has a decent amount of money from his mother. He has supposedly these huge deals with Spotify and Netflix. However, I don't think Netflix is severely pulling back. and they're letting go of 150 people, which is not good news for Harry and Meghan. They've hired this PR person that used to work for Universal and one of the the talent agencies within Hollywood. So she's very well connected there. So I think there's some big problems going on behind the scenes. And Help for Heroes like, okay, if we continue to support it, can we justify this support to our donors? And I think the answer is no. And kind of the British Royal Legion knew that, and so did the Ministry of Defense. I think everybody is very much questioning the motivations of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. And because they're so closely associated with the Invictus Games, and again, Meghan's ridiculously expensive wardrobe for absolutely no reason, there's like, okay, so how do we move forward? So I think the way they are addressing it is to help protect Help for Heroes by removing them from the situation, because the British Royal Legion can survive anything that Harry and Meghan do pretty much. And the Ministry of Defense can. And I think, this is just my theory, but I think it's a way for them to kind of protect Help for Heroes in case they're putting money into this thing and not seeing a return, because the British Royal Legion is very, very well established. So I think that is what kind of the plan was. So Help for Heroes will still be involved in the Invictus Games, but they won't have as much of a financial burden because there is no guarantee that their money is going to the right place. And the Ministry of Defense and the British Royal Legion, I thought it was interesting as well that the Invictus Games was like, you know, kind of hands off, as like, well, we don't make or interfere in these decisions. And I think that's kind of key, because I think the Ministry of Defense and the British Royal Legion, they like the games. The troops like the games. I want to support the games. But everybody's like, what is going on with Harry and Meghan? Because their sole motivation right now seems to be money. And if it's money, then that means that the games are at risk. Ergo, the best way to protect the games is, I think, for the troops to be protected and served by the Ministry of Defense and the British Royal Legion, so that if the Invictus Games falls apart, they maybe are able to survive it and maybe give another outlet to these service members. Again, this is all just theory and supposition. However, it goes to show that Prince Harry and Meghan have done enormous damage to the Invictus Games just by their mere presence, their lack of transparency, and their just general media games with the public, and these connections that they've made with Netflix and Spotify, where it's not clear where the line is. Where is the money going? How is a documentary with Netflix going to benefit the Invictus Games? Because we've been told that, I think the documentary initially was going to follow service members who have participated in the games. However, there were crews following around Harry and Meghan in New York City when they went to the Endeavor Gala, and even, you know, to reading books with kids and stuff like that. And there were film cameras following them around at the Invictus Games. Now, obviously, they are a part of the games, and we get that. However, if they are the stars of the documentary, that's not going to fly, because people want to see the troops. I don't care about Harry. He was protected to the nth degree while he was in, you know, he was not on the front lines of combat. He was way behind the lines of combat. He was in Afghanistan, but he wasn't really involved in that much, I don't think. They kept him pretty far away. It was just a way to kind of show him that he was serving. You know, he was a bigger risk being over there than he probably was if he had stayed at home. I know he wanted to serve with his troop members, but I'm sure they didn't get to do much. They probably spent most of their time twiddling their thumbs, but I'm sure they were kind of happy about, well, at least their wives were definitely very happy about that. Wives and spouses of these service members were probably very happy that their you know, husbands and wives weren't on quite as far into the front lines. But Harry was a security risk. He probably really, you know, was pretty sheltered, I think, most of the time. And they're looking at this in the future going, okay, Prince Harry is now a liability. He used to be an asset to the Invictus Games. Now he's a liability. So what's the best thing we can do? Well, we can shelter the game participants within the Ministry of Defense and the British Royal Legion, both who have a massive supporting network. That's, I think, was key there in a lot of statements. There's a massive support system within the British Royal Legion that Help for Heroes just does not have. And so with this massive internal support system, if the ground falls out, if it comes out that Harry was doing something inappropriate with the funds, or Meghan was, or that in the Invictus Games, because Harry and Meghan appeared, did actually you know, her part of her wardrobe was funded by the games, those two organizations can survive it. But Help for Heroes, which still has a connection to the games, is not quite as connected now and can maybe survive it a little more. And they're not quite as, their finances are not quite as invested in the Invictus Games as they were before. There was, as well, the Telegraph mentioned that there was an investigation that Help for Heroes was helping the Ministry of Defense build some buildings. This was based on a documentary back in 2012. It's been determined that that story essentially was not true. In a report, this is quoting from the Telegraph article, it states, it concluded that there was no evidence to back up Newsnight's claim about Help for Heroes. So there was a little bit of a controversy there. However, obviously Help for Heroes and the Ministry of Defense have worked in very close coordination before. You know, obviously there were some questions there as well. However, again, I think this all comes back to one simple thing. Nobody trusts Harry anymore. Nobody trusts his motivations. And even though he was very, very engaged in the Invictus Games before, and he still kind of is, you know, his wife is a question mark. And I think they see this move to Hollywood and this producership and all these things they're supposedly doing. It's not as much about protecting the troops, helping the troops. It's about helping them make money. And I think people are just very, very offended by that and very concerned and want to protect our servicemen and women who are engaged in these games, want these games, like these games, but are stuck with the worst patron in the world right now, which is Prince Harry. And so guys, let me know what you think of this video. Let me know if you think what you think of my analysis. Again, this is just a bit on the fly from the reports that we've been getting. And I'll end with this. I actually went to the games in 2016 and I had a lovely time. I really enjoyed it, and you had to pay for those tickets, and you know, we paid to go to Disney World, me and my sister. And we both really, really enjoyed it. And I, for some reason, things related to our service members always make me bawl. I don't know why. I'm not a very emotional cry person, but I watched like 5 minutes of Vietnam in HD, the Vietnam War in HD, and I started to tear up. Hearing, oh gosh, Eisenhower's speech for, you know, D-Day. I'll actually put that in on the end. It was from the History Channel, and their World War II in HD. So moving, so fantastic. And so I do want to support the Invictus Games. I want to support what they're doing. However, I distrust Harry. And I think the Ministry of Defense doesn't trust him. I think the British Royal Legion doesn't trust him. And it doesn't sound like Help for Heroes really trusts him either. And so the best way forward is to protect the service members as best they can. And so guys, again, let me know what you think of kind of, you know, my theory and everything, and kind of some of the analysis I did. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think Prince Harry's greed has destroyed the Invictus Games? Because it sounds like this may be the first silo in a lot of things that end up falling apart because Prince Harry doesn't do the right thing and hand it off to somebody else, or lessens his role, or really makes it clear. This is the simple thing Harry can do. Harry can be transparent about where the money is going for the Invictus Games and how was he financially compensated for showing up to an event he started. If he is, that is kind of I think a no-go for people, and he should not do that, because as a royal he didn't do that. But if he's making money to show up, so if they're having to pay him to show up at that games, it's no longer about charity, it's about money. And so in the future, if Harry wants this to continue, he has to be transparent about what he's doing, why he's doing it, where the money is going. And I think their lack of transparency is really going to continue to damage Harry and Meghan's brand, because they're supposedly about charity, but are they really? I don't think so. So like I said, guys, I know I've had a couple of starts and stops at the end of this video. I'm sorry. I just kept coming up with like more things and more thoughts. And so again, I want to know what you think though. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please like and share this video as well. That would be great. And subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. I have a couple videos coming up, a retrospective on Thursday about Harry and Meghan's wedding, because I have a lot of thoughts about that wedding and I haven't gotten them all out yet. So we're going to go over all of that and how it was just kind of a sign that Harry and Meghan, it was going to be a rocky time with them. So guys, thank you again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.